Fantastic. So for our first talk this morning in the undergraduate student category, we have the pleasure of welcoming Mai and Rasmus from Aarhus University, and they will be sharing about the project on echolocation as an accessible navigation tool in a virtual 3D environment. Very excited to hear more about this work, so welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Mai, and I am from Aarhus University in Denmark. I am here to present our paper, Echolocation as an Accessible Navigation Tool in a Virtual 3D Environment, together with my co-author, Rasmus, here with the hat in the chair. Great. So, virtual environments are becoming increasingly important in various fields, yet they remain largely inaccessible to blind and low vision individuals. The primary challenge lies in the heavy reliance on visual elements and the absence of physical and auditory cues, such as sound shadows, texture, and ambient noise. These are essential for navigation in the physical world. To address this issue, we proposed an accessible navigation tool for a virtual 3D environments based on active echolocation. This is inspired by real-world use of a white cane tapping, clapping, and mouth clicking when navigating surroundings. So this tool actually allows users to emit a clicking sound and listen to its echo as it reflects off surfaces. Our goal was to investigate the efficacy of this echolocation-based navigation tool and explore how it could improve accessibility in 3D virtual environments. So we formulated two research questions. The first being, how does active echolocation support blind and low vision individuals navigating virtual 3D environments? The second one being, what is the perceived usefulness of active echolocation for spatial navigation tasks in terms of usability, accessibility, and effectiveness? To explore these research questions, we developed a web-based 3D virtual environment. This environment consists of 7 levels, 1 tutorial level to introduce the echolocation tool, and 6 additional levels with increasing spatial difficulty. Each level was designed to challenge the participants' ability to navigate the space using the echolocation tool to find the exit. So by increasing spatial difficulty, we introduced 90-degree turns, hallways, openings, and obstacles. We conducted a formative study with a blind expert to ensure usability and accessibility prior to our user study. So we recruited 13 blind and low vision participants from an accessible video games forum. These participants were tasked to complete the tutorial and find the exit in all 6 levels. During each session, our tool collected real-time telemetry and usage data, providing insights into how participants interacted with the virtual environment and the echolocation tool. So after completing the levels, participants filled out a questionnaire that captured qualitative feedback, which we used to analyze the effectiveness and usability of the echolocation tool. In regards to research question 1, we identified 3 navigation strategies that the participants adopted. The first one being shorelining. In this strategy, a participant would walk along the walls until they found the exit. This is also a common strategy used in real life by white cane users and echolocators. The next one is the ping pong strategy. In this strategy, a participant would echolocate to the furthest point, walk in that direction until they meet a wall, and repeat this process until they reach the exit, creating this back and forth ping pong pattern. The last one is the random strategy, which is more of a nonsensical strategy where no consistent pattern is used when navigating. Based on these identified strategies, we determined a participant's approach. We found that 31% had a spatial cognitive approach, meaning they actually built a mental map during this simulation. 23% had a pragmatic approach, and 46% had an inconclusive approach due to conflicting data. Our study showed that echolocation could indeed support blind and low vision individuals in navigating 3D virtual spaces. Participants were generally able to use our tool to navigate the virtual space and locate the exits. This suggests that echolocation can be a useful accessibility feature in virtual environments. However, the results also highlighted significant limitations. Not all participants found the echolocation tool equally useful. For our research question 2, when we looked at perceived usefulness, we had some mixed reactions from our participants. B4 states, I found the echolocation useful since it actually helped me navigate around the area. B5 said, I use echolocation in real life every day when walking around buildings, so this brings back awesome memories. In contrast, B2 said, the echolocation ability is not providing feedback as the footsteps are. It is more or less a radar beacon for straight in front of you. Normally, a person would not attempt this in an empty room with zero ambience. So while some appreciated its ability to provide distance cues, others felt it lacked the necessary detail to fully understand and navigate the space. This variability in user experience underscores that the tool in its current form may not fully meet the diverse needs of blind and low vision individuals. So based on the perceived usefulness, as we saw for research question 2, we identified 3 primary limitations. First, the tool provided only basic spatial information, such as the distance to the nearest surface, which limited participants' ability to form a comprehensive mental map of the environment. Second, the sound design and acoustics of the echolocation tool were not always effective in conveying the spatial layout of the rooms. Thirdly, the lack of sonification was needed to help users establish reference points in the environment. And since we did not implement this, it definitely was lacking in that department. So for future work, it should include improving the sound design and acoustics for better spatial understanding, such as orders of reflection, where sound waves, they bounce off surfaces, creating a more dynamic spatial audio. It should also focus on incorporating sonification to gain a better point of reference. Lastly, future work should include broadening the participant group to actually represent all levels of technological experience, as a lot of them were from an accessible games forum, meaning they had some technological experience. So we wanted to expand to a more diverse demographic. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that great presentation. Now we welcome questions from the audience. Please remember, if you have any questions, to ask for a microphone if you need. And if you can, please approach one of the microphones set here in the audience space. When you do so, please introduce yourself. And thank you so much.
Hi, this is Sean Kane from Google Research. That was a wonderful talk, thank you. I'm curious about how the echolocation and these movement strategies in VR map to people who have echolocation skills in real life in terms of the similarities and differences.
Yeah, so we didn't implement it in VR. We implemented it in as like a web application. So we haven't actually pulled any data on how it would work in VR. In terms of how it actually would, like how people who echolocate in real life translated those skills into our prototype, we actually didn't have a lot of data to say anything pretty significant. We only had one participant who mentioned that they echolocated in real life. So a study where you would probably recruit specifically people who echolocate in real life would probably show some different data than the data that we got.
Right, and it might be the case there are certain strategies that, I don't know, I think it's because I keep moving the microphone, they use in real life that might be useful in a virtual context as well.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you for your question. Very good question.
Hello, thank you very much. Great work. I'm João Pereira from the University of Lisbon. And actually, my question went in that direction. So you experiment with the more flat screen type of interaction mechanisms. And I was wondering if you have any ideas on moving to VR and taking advantage of the affordances, just like by being able to rotate myself and how that can influence the way that people interact and that leverage this sonification. For instance, just a reference point, by rotating my body, I can know that I are 90 degrees and I'm more aware of the movement of my body.
Yes, that's an excellent point. We experienced in our formative study with the blind expert that we didn't like the expert couldn't tell if they had rotated at all. We hadn't accounted for it. So the way we had to accompany for, or take this into account was that we implemented a clicking sound for whenever you rotated 10 degrees. And this isn't very optimal at all for a flat screen. So if we moving to VR is definitely something that would be a very good idea to get those natural affordances for, oh, I've rotated now, I'm rotating my actual body, so therefore it would also rotate in the space. VR also has the added benefit of having haptic hardware, so we could also use the controller's vibration to signal if they would, walk into walls or something similar of that sort. The flat screen limits us to, only relay information through audio. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Let's go on this side of the room, that side.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Martins Mott from Microsoft Research. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on how the task type influenced the navigation strategies that you observed. So it appears that the task was to find an exit in a room, but I'm wondering if you had given participants a different task, just like explore the space or to find multiple instances of something in the room, might that have changed the navigation strategies that you found from participants?
Yeah, that's.
Can I say more?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for your question. It's actually something that we saw a little bit reflected out in our data, and it's definitely something that we will think about if we are going further with this research. The task that we gave our participants definitely influenced how they would navigate. Saying that you should find the exit, we felt it led more to a pragmatic approach to a lot of the participants, where they would just like, okay, I know I have to do this. In comparison, if, as you said, would just explore the space, maybe asking them to, can you identify different landmarks or identify different traits of this specific room and then describe them. That would definitely change the outcome of this study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I think we have time for one last question. Okay, we'll take it from the right of the room.
Thank you, Robin. And thank you both for the great work and the presentation. I was wondering if you tried or have thought about multiple users.
Excuse me, can you introduce yourself?
Sorry. Sorry?
Can you introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you. Tiago from the University of Lisbon. And I was thinking if you considered multiple users and the effect of the clicking from the other users, if it would be beneficial, and how, even if you haven't tried, if you can speculate a little bit.
Yes, thank you. I can speculate. So let's say that we had a multiplayer environment where we could have multiple participants walking around, and each of them would be using this echolocation tool, and they would be able to hear each other's echolocation sounds. That is the scenario that you're describing, correct? This would definitely be very interesting. It could add an interesting dynamic of using the other participants in the virtual environments echoes as like a sonification device. When we implemented it, we didn't have any sonification or any environmental sounds. So having those other sounds from the other participants would definitely add sonification to the room. The issue would still be, though, that you would be lacking a point of reference. It could introduce an interesting dynamic, but I also think reiterating on the echolocation tool as a whole would be the first approach to take before considering having multiple participants in the same environment echolocating at the same time. Thank you.
Let's thank our first presenters. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so in first place, we're happy also to announce our winners, Echolocation as an accessible navigation tool in a virtual 3D environment, Marika Plaza and Rasmus Jens.
Photo. No. We need the picture.